All right, everyone, now it is time for some motivation to carry you through your week. This is one of my favorite things to do because it's so easy in today's society to get depressed, even though this is the society in the history of human civilization where we have the most wealth distribution and the most opportunities for happiness and success. But we're ultimately a depressed, medicated society. And so these are some of the things I want to talk about today because I think that they're so important and they've drastically changed my life. And I know that many people can relate to this material because we all go through a lot of similar trials and tribulations, but not many people talk about it because it's not cool. So we end up feeling like we're alone. And one of the main reasons for me wanting to do this podcast with Russo's brand and the brand family was to help us all feel like we could potentially be a part of someone else's survival guide someday. And it all starts with conversations like this. Now, throughout most of my career, I always had people telling me, oh, I'm overreacting, I'm a drama queen, I'm crazy, I'm this, I'm a lunatic, I'm that. But what I ended up realizing looking back was sometimes I was wrong, but there was a majority of the time where I was actually right, but I convinced myself I was wrong. And here's why. So many people talk about how hard it is to trust people after you have been hurt. But how many people are actually talking about how hard it is to trust yourself and your gut instincts when other people are trying to manipulate you and try to undermine your own innate instincts? How many people actually talk about how hard that is? We all know it's hard to trust after you've been hurt. And then we project that hurt onto other people, and it's not really fair because those people aren't the ones that hurt us, but we're making other people pay for other people's mistakes, which in and of itself makes us, a depraved society, right? Not enough people talk about how hard it is to actually trust yourself in a society where so many people have ulterior motives for you, but they're acting as if they're portraying as if they're acting in your best interest when they're really not. That's the inspiration behind my tweets and posts that say, not everybody riding with you is for you, because it's the truth. A lot of people are not loyal to you. They're loyal to their need of you. And once that need changes, so too does their loyalty. It's that simple. Nobody cares about you, about your problems, and about what you're going through and what you're feeling. They care about themselves, okay? They care about what they need, what they want, and what they want to achieve, okay? And they do not have any qualms with tearing other people down in order to achieve those things. If they could ride your coattails to get to a place they want to be faster, they're going to do that. So why aren't we talking about how hard it is to trust ourselves and our own gut instincts, which we have passed down from generations of our DNA, our own innate inside of ourselves gut instincts? We don't talk enough about how hard that is. And if I would have trusted my gut instead of what other people were trying to convince me of, I wouldn't have ended up in some precarious situations that ultimately I have to take a little bit of accountability for. And that leads me to my next point. Accountability. We live in a society that lacks accountability. And this is not blaming the victim. I hate when I hear that. Let me just give you your own body chalk, okay? Stop with the victim Olympics, the victim mentality. You are not a victim of your circumstances. Your circumstances do not define you. You define your circumstances. If you mess up, if you make a mistake, own it. Failure is a necessary step on the ladder of success. You can see how much this, I'm so passionate about this, because if you take accountability for your life, you would be so surprised what kind of person you become in the not so distant future. You will end up becoming a person that the little kid you used to be, who made way for you to grow up into an adult. You'll be making that kid proud, okay? Boundaries are a good thing. Saying no is a good thing, but also hold yourself accountable. None of us are 10s. If someone says, oh, I'm a 10, walk in the other direction. Because that person is indirectly telling you that they're a person that does not take stock in their own shizit. Meaning they do not hold themselves accountable for the things they say, the things they do, how they act, so forth and so on. It's everybody else's fault. They are perfect. They have no need for self-improvement. Run away from those people. Run as fast as you can in the other direction, okay? There is always ways in which we can improve. Even when you think you're perfect, you're not. There is always a way to get to the next level, to get better and better and better. And isn't that part of the meaning of life? Enjoy yourself, enjoy the fruits of your labor, but also hold yourself accountable. Hold yourself accountable. And people want to think that that's sexist and also it's not. It's not. And it's not blaming the victim, okay? When something really, really tragic happens to you, that's not your fault. okay? Somebody else did that to you. That's on them. And they should be held accountable. But also take into consideration the choices you made that ended up putting you in that situation, okay? You know, a very great example of this is if you live in a bad neighborhood and you keep your door wide open at night and then you wake up the next morning and realize you were robbed. Whose choice was it to leave the door wide open so anybody could walk into your house and rob you? Was that a good idea? No, it was not. Especially since you know that you live in a not great neighborhood where there is a lot of crime and you left your door wide open and you got robbed. Now, is it your fault that that person chose to rob you? No. That person should be held accountable. But so too should you, because you left your door open basically with a neon sign saying, rob me, rob my house. Hold yourself accountable. And that sort of accountability will actually trickle down into other aspects of your life. When you make a plan and you hold yourself accountable, you'll realize that you far more often than not stick to your plan, you adapt to you ultimately complete the goal of that plan, okay? And then you actually start doing things that are worthwhile and you become a much better person, okay? And that all starts with trusting yourself and your gut instinct, holding yourself accountable and understanding that not everybody around you is for you. They may be with you, but they're not for you. And you have to start weeding those people out, okay? You have to start realizing that you are the sum of the 5 people you spend the most time with. And when you spend time in your own head every day, make it a good place to be. We say such horrible stuff to each other. We talk about diets all the time, about the food we put into our body, but we don't spend enough time, just like our gut instincts and trusting ourselves, we do not spend enough time focusing on what we put in here. We do not. Okay, I used to say some of the nastiest things about myself. That's why, like, when people say bad things about me now, I'm like, back in the day, I said way worse. Like, you cannot surprise me. You know, we need to start realizing that diet is also about what we talk about in here, how we feel in here, what we say in here. Start talking nice to yourself. Start taking stock of your environment and controlling your environment, okay? And if you're not in the right environment, find a new environment. You can find an excuse or you can find a result. The choice is ultimately up to you. Be free with your authenticity. This is something we talk about all the time, and part of that is accountability and trusting yourself. But be free with your authenticity is one of the most powerful things you could do, and it is sexy as hell. It is so sexy when somebody is confident in loving the skin they're in, and they're crushing goals. They're happy about life. They're motivated. They're consistent. They're a do-good, integrity, moral-driven person. That is sexy. That is awesome. Do not be afraid of your feminine power, and do not be afraid to be a masculine man, okay? Do not be around those people that want to take your masculinity from you as a man, and do not, you know, and ladies, not all men are trash, okay? Maybe it's just the guys you're picking. So maybe, you know, it's very similar to if you're the smartest person in the room, you need to find a different room. Well, maybe if you're dating the same guys over and over, and now you have this like skewed view of the world that all men are trash, maybe it's not all men, maybe it's just the ones that you are attracting. So then take stock of yourself. What are you doing that is making you go after these guys, or these guys coming to you? Make some changes, commit those and make those habits, and then see where you end up, and you'll realize that not all women are gold diggers and not all men are trash, okay? Blanketed statements help nobody, but if you take accountability, you're helping at least one person, and that's yourself. All right, guys, if you are struggling in today's society, you are not alone. I think we all know that, but I think sometimes we need to hear it because it is a very lonely thing to go through. And I've had a lot of people ask me, you know, why are you happy and positive and all this other stuff? I take steps every single day to keep my mental health in check and also my environment in check. It's so easy when to be boggled down in today's society when everybody's trying to do all these crazy things, everybody's trying to impress all kinds of strangers on social media. It's so easy to get depressed. But it's even easier to manipulate your hormones to be happy. Listen to upbeat music, watch some comedy, eat a piece of dark chocolate, exercise, complete a simple task. You'd be surprised how many people are happy just because they made their bed first thing in the morning. That's one of the first things I do. All right, get some sun. Pet a dog or a cat, okay? Get a hug, hold hands. All of these things actually increase positive levels of oxytocin, serotonin, endorphins, and dopamine. Hack your hormones to convince yourself to be happy.